Hello, my name is Victoria and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be about the 12 books I want to read in 2025. They are only 12 because I've set that goal on my Goodreads account because I don't want to read as many books as I've read in the last couple of years. I don't want to push myself. This year I need time for other things in my life, and reading books is not my priority, although I still love doing it and I would love to read more than 12 books this year, but I just don't know whether it's going to happen or not. I'll be separating the books into 4 categories. First is going to be classics, then science fiction and fantasy, then Bulgarian literature, and then dark academia. The first category is going to be classics, and the first classic is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I don't know what Jane Eyre is really about. I have been avoiding spoilers for a while now. I have this beautiful old Penguin Classics edition, which is falling apart, but nonetheless I'm gonna read this exact edition. And also I'll be downloading it on my Kindle for a little bit more convenience because I want to save it as much as possible. The second book in the classics category is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen as well. A very beloved, a very well-known book with its movie adaptation especially. This book is a little bit intimidating for me because I've read like the first 50 pages and I found it to be very boring. But I will do my best because it's an English classic and I have to read it. What if in my exam this shows up? And what am I going to do? The next one I will not be reading for the first time. It will be a reread of the Frankenstein. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. This book really changed my life. I love it, and if you don't know what classic to read and find classics intimidating and boring, please give a try to this one. It will shatter your expectations of a 19th century novel. It is just so deep and so real, and the problems that it discusses are still problems of today's society. And the monster that Frankenstein creates is actually the one we empathize with, the one we love, the one we cherish in our hearts as a truly significant character of classical literature. Oh my god, what was that? I have to read this book mainly because I've heard that Guillermo del Toro's movie Frankenstein is going to be coming out in November of 2025. So maybe in September I'll be picking Frankenstein again. The next 2 books that are on my list to read, it's not exactly 2 books because I want to read one of them, but I'm not sure which one should I read. It's either Crime and Punishment or Brothers Karamazov by Fyodor Dostoevsky, which is a Russian classic author, very well known. His books are very philosophical and they impacted classic literature as well as Eastern philosophy. Give me some recommendations with which one I should start, but it's going to be with either of those 2. I don't know which one I would find more appealing, but this is like very chunky. This is more acceptable to read, so we'll see how much time will I have to read one of those books. The last classic book I want to read is 1984 by George Orwell. I know I have not read a lot of famous classic works, but I am going to change that in the next couple of years. So 1984 is a dystopian novel. I don't know much about it, much like the other books on this video, but I've read Animal Farm by this author and I didn't like it as much as I should have probably, or I didn't read it as cautiously as I should have. I don't know, but we'll see what will happen with 1984. I don't have the physical copy, so I'm gonna be reading it on my Kindle. Look at these beautiful stickers. The next category will be fantasy, and I have only one book in this category, which is Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Suzanne Clark. I have read Piranesi last year and I have not found it very impressive or impactful as many people on the internet have. It was a good book, but not necessarily an excellent one. I did not remember what was going on there. It was just not for me, I believe. Some people might enjoy it more. But I am very interested to see if this is the case with this book, which I believe is set in alternative Victorian England, which concerns magic and magicians and dark things like that. I don't know really what it's about, but we're going to see this year, probably. It's a very chunky book as well. I don't know why this year I've decided to read so many huge books, but that's why there are 12 as well, probably. Let's see what science fiction books I'll be reading this year. The first one is Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep by Philip K. Dick. I don't know much about this book, but I know that it's the inspiration for the infamous movie Blade Runner, so I'm definitely gonna give it a read. I've tried the first 20-30 pages, but it was not much to my liking, but I'm gonna pick it up again soon, probably after I finish the book that I'm currently reading. I'll be reading this one. It is short. It is how many pages? It is closer to 100 pages, and it will be a nice read. We'll see if it's a nice sci-fi or not so much. Sci-fi books I'm gonna be reading next are a trilogy, and it's a very well-known trilogy that even got its own Netflix adaptation last year, and it's nothing else than the Three Body trilogy. I think it's upside down. It's like this, yeah. This trilogy I'm attempting to even start this year. I'm not attempting to finish it this year. I just want to start it. We'll see what will happen after I start. If I'm gonna be hooked, I'll probably read the next two books. If not, I'm probably gonna wait a little bit, because I've heard that it's a very hard sci-fi. I've heard a lot of good things about it. I know that it concerns aliens and the Earth, but I have no idea what it's about. We'll see. The next category of books that I've created is Bulgarian literature. The first book in this category is Time Shelter by Georgy Gospodinov, which won the International Booker Prize for 2023. I have already started this book and I find it very interesting. The conception of time sheltering is really interesting, and I think everyone should give it a read. It's something unique, something new that you haven't heard of and still you haven't read about. The second one in this category is I, Anna Komnina by Vera Mutavcheva, which doesn't have an English translation, but it's a historical feminist novel about the Byzantine Empire princesses and queens. I have not yet read it, I have not started it, but I believe I will fall in love with this work of art. I love the beautiful cover and the font inside these books is really nice. They are both from one and the same publishing house and they look gorgeous, of course. I have only 2 books in the Dark Academia category. The first one is The Betrayals by Bridget Collins, which is set in an exclusive academy and follows 3 characters, Leo, Magister Ludi, and the Rat. This is as much I know about this book. I know that it's inspired by Hermann Hesse's The Glass Bead Game, and I'm a huge fan of Hermann Hesse, although I haven't read that exact book. I really hope I like this one because the binding as well is one of my favorite books of all time. The last book in this video is If We Were Villains by Emil Rio, which is the last book that I have to read in the What the Hell Richard genre, or known as the Dark Academia genre. This book is about theater students and I think I'll very much like it. It says even here that it's very similar to The Secret History, and I hope I love The Secret History. And yes, this is the last book. Thank you guys for watching my videos. I hope you enjoyed it. Give me some video ideas. What should I do next? Maybe I should review something that's on my shelves that I've already read, or maybe I should just talk about movies and TV shows a little bit more, because I've been thinking to go that way a little bit. I think that my next video is probably going to be about the best movies I've watched last year. If you want to see what were the best books that I read last year, just check out my previous video. I have only 2 for now, and thank you again for being a part of this channel. Goodbye.